Live from CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference in Washington, D.C. This is a very special edition of the Conservative Commandos radio show. For those of you who are regular viewers and listeners to our show, you know that I love aviation. My God, everything that flies. I think the three most beautiful man-made structures in the world are ships, bridges, and airplanes. And joining me today is Rick Polluck, who is with Ultimate Air Charters. Rick, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here today, Rick.
Well, tell us about Ultimate Jet Charters, and I love talking aviation. I love talking airplanes.
Oh, good. We could talk all day then.
All right.
well, there's two divisions of our company. Ultimate Jet Charters, it's our parent company. We're an Ohio-based company. We've been in business for 36 years. That's a long time in aviation. And our founder, John Gordon, is still president today. And we started Ultimate Air Shuttle during the financial crisis. So what happened was, if you remember when the TARP money came out in February of 2009, if you were seen on corporate aircraft, you were considered a poorly run business at the time. So we had a lot of our corporate contracts dry up. Well, instead of giving up, we reinvented ourselves and started the Ultimate Air Shuttle brand, which is a public charter. You get all the private amenities.
Wow.
Yeah, you get all the private amenities if you charter the whole aircraft, but you buy it by the seat. And the pricing's great. It starts at $149 each way on certain days to our destinations.
And what are your destinations? I know you're from Ohio, but what destinations do you service?
So out of Cincinnati, Ohio, we go to Cleveland, Chicago, Charlotte, Atlanta, and we're starting Nashville March 16th. That's the latest lineup. Now, Ultimate Jet Charters, we could fly anywhere in the country. Anywhere in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean we're certified for. But what we do on the charter side, we focus on big trip movement, like collegiate sports is a big customer of ours, men and women basketball. And in this political environment we're in this year, we are very busy. We fly members of Congress and Senate and even some presidential candidates too.
Well, that's pretty cool. So, Rick, you're a pilot yourself?
I am not a pilot, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I am more the business side of the fence. I took one flight lesson years ago. I loved it, but I knew my attention span was better for business than being a pilot of an aircraft.
Okay. Well, I fly ultralights, or have flown ultralights, and that's, to me, I know a lot of people who were commercial pilots who also fly ultralights, and they always said, well, that is real aviation, not the iron or the aluminum office or whatever. So, so you can always learn to fly an ultralight.
Oh, yeah. Rick. Oh, no, I could do it. Yeah. I'm willing to learn that one, that's for sure.
So, Rick, would you be at a position where you mentioned some sports teams and polish? Can you name drop for us?
Well, I could say we fly all Division I men and women basketball teams. Since it's on the private side, we kind of try to keep the names private. But with collegiate sports, right now they're so focused on the students' time, and that's where we come in. So we could fly them to the game and fly them home that night so they're not on the bus. In this political atmosphere, I can't really say who we fly because it's private, and I don't want to do that. But I will say Senator Portman's been a big help to Ultimate through the years in Ohio. And he has flown us on our public charter quite a bit.
So other than sports teams, politicians, tell me about, would you say, the not the private charters, the public charters.
Yeah.
Is that something new in the aviation industry?
It's not new. It's been around, but nobody's done it. So we started it 10 years ago, and we were the only operator of this size and scale in the United States, which is pretty amazing. We are still the only operator of this size and scope that's doing a public charter service. The only close one is out west on the west coast in California that's trying to do what we do. But we really focus on the business traveler. We try to bring that most precious commodity back, and that's time.
Right.
So we build our schedules for day trips. So they could leave in the morning, come back at night, and make it very efficient for them. We bring back time.
Rick, now in the day of airport security, would someone who was wanting to travel, would they benefit by going with your company and getting around TSA, or is it shorter? How does that work?
It's a great question, because people think we don't have security when we say we're flying in and out of an FBO. It's quite the contrary. We do have security. We very much model TSA pre-check. So we have a TSA procedure that we built with TSA that goes around the Part 135 general aviation. So all of our travelers, they are screened and they are checked before they get on, not every flight, but every segment of that flight.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Rick, tell us about your equipment.
We have two types of aircraft, a Dornier 328. It's an above-wing aircraft. A lot of people don't know what that airplane is. It's a German design, French manufacturer.
It looks a little, with the high wing, with the high tail, it kind of looks like a Dash 7.
It does. It really does, actually. They're all 30-seat aircraft, so they're European design for the European jumps. So for our business, we try to build our shuttles within an hour flight time, so that plane is perfect for it.
Right.
We're now getting into the Embraer 135 marketplace as well. So you're familiar with the Embraers. There's a lot of them out there, so that's the plane of the future for us.
Whereas the Dash 7 was a turboprop, this is a strict jet engine too.
Correct. Yeah. And all of our aircraft are jet engines.
Rick, what about the safety, the aircraft safety of operators like yourself and other charter companies?
Well, we have a 99.8% dispatch rate. That's pretty impressive just in itself. So that means our planes are very well maintained and they're flying. We have our own maintenance team, which is really unique in general aviation, as you know. A lot of companies, they subcontract that out. We have a great maintenance team, and actually Dave Denny's, who is the director of maintenance, he's actually sought after around the world. Other Dornier operators call him from around the world for advice, and all of them are direct employees of Ultimate, so we're very safe and very conscious, not only on the mechanical safety of the airplane, but the health safety of the airplane. We want to make sure it's clean inside before every segment, especially in this day and age of coronavirus and flu and everything out there. So we're doing our best to make sure we maintain our aircraft.
Rick, let's talk about the coronavirus. There's a lot of reports out there. You know, the stock market has been dropping lately because of the coronavirus.
3,000 points, I think, lately.
Yeah. Actually, one of my co-hosts didn't come. He was supposed to come from Reno, decided with the coronavirus, didn't want to get on an airplane to make a trip. So talk about that. Talk about the coronavirus. Talk about how people might be protected from even just a common cold on an airplane. Talk about that.
You know, it's a great question. I get that question a lot. You know, how do you protect yourself when you're flying? Really, it's common sense practices. You know, make sure that you have your hand sanitation with you. Try not to touch your face a lot. Wipe down your seat. Even though we wipe down our seats and our handrails before every flight, I'm seeing customers do it themselves before they even board. May it be our flight or when I have to fly commercial to a destination. So you got to kind of take ownership yourself. And another thing is be mindful who's around you. You know, if you see somebody that's sick, you know, maybe try your best to stay away from them. And I've seen a lot of people carry their own mask as well.
Cool.
And we have that in our plane if we see somebody that's sick, which we haven't had to do yet, thank goodness. But we are prepared for any type of situation like that.
Well, Rick Polluck, in wrapping up, give us the 411, the who, what, where, the quick who, what, where, when, how, why on Ultimate Jet Charters, how they can contact you, and again, where you're at and the cities that you service.
Yeah, so Ultimate Jet Charters, if you need a plane chartered for you and your group, just go on ultimatejetcharters.com. If you are in Ohio or one of the other cities such as Chicago, Cleveland, Charlotte, Atlanta, and soon Nashville, go on ultimateairshuttle.com. And there you could purchase your tickets right there online. If you need to charter an aircraft on Ultimate Jet Charters, our team there can get you a quote within minutes, anywhere in the country.
Rick, you know what's wrong with your operation?
What's that?
It doesn't go in and out of Philadelphia. Got it right. Nashville, Philadelphia, right?
You're right. You're right.
Rick Polluck, thank you so much for joining us on Conservative Commandos Radio Show. Take care and God bless.
God bless. Thank you.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline Refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline Refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here! Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution. Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landrith. We are here at CPAC, and I am here with a good friend, Horace Coooper. I'm sure you've seen him on Fox News defending liberty and freedom very valiantly. He's with Project 21, and we are really glad to have him here because, you know, this is the, you can probably hear from the noise in the background here at CPAC. Hopefully we'll talk loud and they hear us, but this is a large gathering. It's a Super Bowl for freedom. So
Absolutely.
welcome back to the Conservative Commandos.
Hey, George, thanks so much for having me on. And you're right, this place is just lit up with excitement. And, you know, interestingly, since the president's coming tomorrow, Saturday, which is normally a wind-down day, is very likely to be even more wound up than even right now.
Technically, this might be the wind-down day.
Could be.
Not that you can tell.
Could be.
Yeah. So what have you been up to?
So I actually have a book coming out, and I'm going to just tease that for a moment. It's called How Donald Trump is Making Black America Great Again. But today I really wanted to talk just briefly a bit about how we need to be taking the right steps to protect our country, particularly as we're looking at this coronavirus and asking questions about some of the organizations, some of the strategies, some of the public policy groups that are maybe making our efforts to prevent disaster a much harder prospect.
Well, I'm imagining that might be some liberal groups out there because they seem to always be on the wrong side of the issue. Every now and then they surprise me, but not usually.
Well, if you're saying PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, you're correct. A lot of your listeners may not know this, but they have been going on a multi-year campaign to convince the airline industry to stop making their transportation services available for research animals. In fact, we've gotten this weird dichotomy. If you want to take your little tiny pony horse as your comfort pet and bring them in with all of the rest of the passengers, United Airlines says yes. But if you say, you know what, we've got these mice, we've got like a dozen or more of them, and we'd like to carry them in the berthing area where we keep all of the baggage, United is saying, no, we're not going to let you do that because we don't want to be party to animal research. Well, looking around today with the market yesterday, the day before, and the day before, and the concerns that the American people have, there's a real question of, don't you really want us to be preparing in advance for whatever medical maladies may befall us and be ready to hit the ground running? And that normally requires not just going on a computer, not just coming up with a formula, but actually testing it on animals first. It's really dangerous, I would even say evil, to say, no, let's bypass the animals, let's just try this on humans.
There are places in the world where they test on humans first.
Well, China's one of them,
China,
yes.
North Korea.
Yes.
I'm not sure that's I know the Nazis used to do that.
Yes.
I don't really think that's the model we want to follow, but evidently PETA wants us to follow that.
So PETA says there's no functional difference between specially grown and bred mice and humans when it comes to testing. They say since the mice don't have any diseases and then the humans don't have any diseases, we should be indifferent as to experimenting on them. I repeat, that's evil.
Yeah.
That's not just a bad idea.
Right.
That's actually evil.
Well, it's interesting because they've developed a reputation for being really friendly towards animals, but at least in Virginia, a place that I call home, I remember reading a headline and a bunch of their shelters, the people who ran them, were charged with criminal animal abuse. Not just abuse, but criminal animal abuse. And they had a kill rate of over 95%. And I'm not talking about for a week or two or a month or two, for a decade, for a whole decade. So this is not cherry-picked data.
Ironically, they set themselves up as a place that you could bring animals that you wanted to save and you wanted to find a way to get them into new homes. And they gave them a new home, all right.
Yeah.
It was a
dumpster.
fiery pit where they were just incinerated. But this is what they say is an example that we shouldn't pay attention to, that we should ignore all of that evidence, a decades-long worth of abuse that they were, as you point out, criminally cited for. And instead, that we should also compound that by actually testing on humans. Look, if you have been given a terminal illness announcement from your doctor, a prognosis that there really aren't a lot of options, the President of the United States, the Congress, and I all agree that we ought to let you have more flexibility about what you want to try. But that's not what they're talking about. Right. They're talking about going to just regular people with no maladies whatsoever and just see what will work. I will tell you this, they know the American people won't put up with that. It's against federal law to do that, and what they really want is for us to do no research at all.
Well, they've actually said that. I think the founder and president have said that if they found cures to things like cancer and AIDS and horrible diseases, that they would still be against it because they're against this, animal testing. And it's just, I scratch my head. You can love animals, you can take good care of your animals, and you can still understand the value of research. It's done in an ethical, it's regulated. It's one of the most regulated things that goes on the planet. So I'm stunned that they still play this game. And with the coronavirus, time is of the essence.
Absolutely.
This won't be a problem a year from now. So if you sit on your hands for a year and waste time, whoever gets it, and people die, and you don't do anything about it because we're in a race with time.
Absolutely. And coronavirus is our problem this very moment, but heart disease, it's an ongoing problem that we need to understand and deal with. The number one killer in the United States. We should be looking at cancer cures, and the only way to do that is to let the research happen. And we are saying, by the way, that in America, we actually follow rules. In fact, none of the primary research institutions in America, people that are receiving NIH grants, they're not being criminally cited for misuse of animals the way PETA ended up getting cited for a decade. Let's remind people, for a decade.
Yeah, this wasn't once.
The record of what has been accomplished and what needs to continue to be accomplished following American regulatory approaches. If you stop it from happening here, it isn't going to stop. It's just going to happen somewhere else, and it's going to happen in a way that all of us will be upset about. You see, in North Korea and in parts of China, take the Uyghurs, a religious minority, they're being experimented on right now. The Chinese government says, where there's too many dissidents, too many disagreements, let's bring them in. Oh, well, does this test kill you? Well, that's fine. That's what we'll be seeing.
That's just as well.
That's what we'd be seeing a lot more of. But even with animals, do you think under American testing protocols, they want to make sure that the animals are in pristine health condition, that they've been bred properly, that they've been fed properly, so that the test results, so that the test results come out right. They don't actually seek out suffering, they seek to end suffering. And if you don't let that happen here, the other places where it will happen, they're not going to care. Oh, that we kill a third of the mice or the apes or whatever else we were on the way here?
Or the political dissidents.
There's more where they came from. So if PETA were really concerned, they would join us in actually saying, let's have good, strong regulatory treatment when it comes to the research of animals, and stand with us that we don't experiment on human beings.
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And right now, the coronavirus illustrates how important it is. Maybe if things like AIDS and cancer and heart disease don't motivate you, maybe the coronavirus will. I would hope people will recognize how critical this is. But we are time up against the clock. That happens. I always enjoy these conversations way too much. But we are here at the Super Bowl of conservatism. That would be CPAC. CPAC 2020. And just want to remind you, this is the Conservative Commandos. Don't go away. We will be right back.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare.
Call 800-209-5173.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day and injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call now and learn how to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
CPAC 2020 Concerted Commandos Radio Show, and it is our pleasure to have Curtis Houck.
Houck, yep.
Of Newsbusters.
Yep.
And that's a pretty cool sounding organization. Tell everybody what Newsbusters does. You got the guns?
Yeah, I know. We definitely feel like it some days. We are the main project of the Media Research Center. The Media Research Center has been around since 1987. We are America's media watchdog, exposing and combating liberal media bias, both on a short and long-term basis. We look at all kinds of news. Originally it was newspapers and broadcast networks when we started in 1987, many years before. Well, no, not really. 4 years before I was born, but and we were in the newsletter form, sending out newsletters that way, and books were our main way to get across to the audience. Now, Newsbusters was launched in the mid-2000s, really just moving the internet age now, and we like to think we're close to 24-hour news, providing coverage pertaining to broadcast networks, cable networks, Twitter, Facebook, other forms of social media, major newspapers, websites, blogs, you name it. We're all over that. We also look at, the way the liberal media cover business issues, cultural issues, Tech Watch, which is one of our newer ventures looking at social media censorship and the tech companies. And I should add to, I believe, 6 years now running MRC Latino, which looks at news on primarily Univision and Telemundo, which is really important, I think, such a great audience. And we publish those stories both in Spanish and English as well, so vice versa, so Spanish-speaking audiences can see bias in their own news, in their own sphere, but also those of us that don't speak Spanish can see the bias in English, what's being said there, which is
So you're a filter for fake news.
Yeah, we like to think we are, and a lot of people here at CPAC, there's talk about the media being biased, and we know that. So what we try to do is arm citizens and thrill seekers with facts, with numbers. Whether it's negative coverage of the president on the broadcast networks, 90, 91, 92, 93% negative, or also, this many hundreds of minutes spent on this story, X or Y, or we cover and point out stories that the media should be covering, but they're not. Like, for example, last night, all the broadcast networks failed to acknowledge that the former mayor of Baltimore was sentenced to 3 years in prison for her scandal, kind of embezzling through a children's book. It was a very bizarre case. But a mayor of a major city, a Democrat, of course, was sentenced to multiple years in prison, and that was not covered by ABC, CBS, or NBC. And we think those stories are really important.
Well, here in Washington, it's been 165 years ago, but Lincoln said, "Let the people know the facts, and we'll be free."
Right.
And so we appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
But how's your audience grown?
Yeah, definitely. As I was saying, we started out with newsletters, and now we're expanding. We've expanded to all these different websites, and now, we're growing our Facebook presence and Twitter presence. We have a couple million followers there. Awesome. And hundreds of thousands on Twitter. And that's really the way we try to expand it. I think one of our selling points, too, is aside from the networks themselves, we have the largest library of clips that we provide to the public, because we're a 501c3. going back to 1987, we have a video library, hundred thousands of hours. I mean, it's just absurd.
Back to 1983?
87, yes.
87. Reagan was still president. That's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, some of it's some of it's on our cloud now. Some of it DVD, some of it VHSs now, and so that's one of the fun things and selling points about our mission as an organization, that we're able to provide people with that, because not everyone then is able to tweet video of when something happens during a debate. So we're able to grow our brand as people that people can come to, especially on Twitter during a debate.
So the Democrats have some elderly non-statesmen running for president.
Right.
Did I frame it right? But they cast votes. They've done a lot in government over the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
You have some of the archives on Biden, some of the archives on some of these folks?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of our requests during the impeachment trial. We were asked for, gold clips from the Senate trial in 1998. Yeah, because a lot of these people were still in office then, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, no, I mean, that's one of the fun things, and as someone I'm 28 years old, so I was not exactly cogent, or my parents, correctly, because they were good parents, wouldn't let the news be on when we were talking about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. I was much more focused on things like Power Rangers and Digimon and Rugrats and Hey Arnold than that sort of thing. But yeah, that's one of the things that we get requests for, and that's been a lot of fun to see. Jerry Nadler, Nancy Pelosi, Schumer, and obviously a lot of journalists too, from that perspective, because a lot of journalists were still around then. Dan Rather trying to relive the glory days.
Yeah, pictures don't lie.
No, they don't.
Well, unless they're altered, which the left does that too.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
What do you think about CPAC this year?
It's been really interesting. This is my 10th CPAC. I started coming as a college student in 2011 with the Penn State College Republicans, and it's been quite a ride here, this being my 10th, and the energy and the crowds this year are definitely there. Not that there weren't in past years, but it's just something you build on. And with 2020 here, the election here, it's unlike reminds me of my first 2 years, 2011, 2012, when it was on the dawn of a previous election, when there were still multiple candidates running for president, and they were all kind of duking it out, and all the energy was kind of dispersed between all those candidates. Now it's all behind Donald Trump, but it's still very much the same way in terms of the energy and the youth and the diversity here that the left doesn't really want to acknowledge. There's a lot of liberal reporters walking around here trying to ruin all of our lives, but I think,
was that the group yesterday that tried to break up the Pence speech?
I don't know. That was
George Soros.
Yeah, that guy dressed up like Donald Trump. It was really kind of creepy. But yeah, no, and that's what the thing I love about CPAC is that there's nothing else like it. The left does not have this. They don't have their act together. They have Netroots, but it's not really anything close to it. So that's one of the fun things I enjoy about CPAC, that we on the right have this, and it's such a great. You walk the exhibit hall and there's groups that hold all kinds of views, and yet we're all under the same roof, under the same team, standing up for the Constitution.
So you're a Nittany Lion.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Big Ten guy, but I'm much older. Northwestern Wildcat.
All right. Yeah.
But Trump is focusing on Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, and he's going to hit Philadelphia.
Yeah.
North Carolina, Florida, some big states.
Yeah.
What's your take on taking Pennsylvania a second time?
Well, one of the things I've been talking with folks about today, they've been curious about, want to talk about the phenomenon of Bernie Sanders, and the reality is that a Sanders candidacy or a Warren candidacy would pose a huge threat to Pennsylvania and their biggest resources of fracking. They would want an immediate ban on all fracking. And there's a story in the Washington Times out in Friday's paper here about how it would cost trillions of dollars. It would cost 7.5 million people their jobs. And that's the thing where we get into, it's not a left-right issue. Jobs, mortgage payments, people being able to provide for their children, feeling financially secure, planning for their retirement, paying off student loans, in younger people's case like mine, if you take away their jobs. And that's one of the things that where the New York Times and the Washington Post have stumbled into journalism here by doing these stories, and they realize that, and they get these quotes from people saying a Sanders or Warren candidacy would be devastating for them, and that would, now Donald Trump squeaked it out in 2016 that he would win big.
Well, and they would take away your nuclear power plants.
Correct.
Talk about energy dissolving.
And allow us to be
under the
energy
Democrats.
independent from Russia, too. That's the other thing I should point out.
We got to close down because you've been a great interview. How can our listeners get a hold of you and Newsbusters?
Newsbusters.org, not .com, newsbusters.org, at Newsbusters on Twitter, at the MRC on Twitter, and I am at Curtis Houck on Twitter.
Oh, thank you so much. And God bless.
God bless. Thank you, JD.
Yeah.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty?
We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt! Always fear! The debt suckers are here!
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
This is Melissa Isaak, Conservative Commando Radio Show, and I'm here with Dan Gainor, and you can certainly watch us on this podcast. Also join us on the AUN News in Northern California. You can catch our shows there as well. So Mr. Dan Gainor is the Vice President of Business Culture Watch for the Media Research Center. Dan is a veteran editor with 2 decades experience in print and online media. He has served as an editor at several newspapers, including the Washington Times and the Baltimore News American. Well, Dan, so we're here at CPAC today, and you are actually a speaker on the panel. Why don't you tell us what you're speaking about today?
Well, yeah, we're talking about tech bias, which I think is really, anybody who spends any time on Twitter or Facebook or searches on Google, that this is, a big issue for them, because we want to make sure the conservatives have a future online just like a future offline.
Absolutely.
And that's some question, because I mean this all goes back, for all the social media has been around for a long time now at this point, and the internet's been around for more than a quarter century. Everything changed in 2016. Donald Trump won using the same tools Barack Obama had used in 2008, 2012, and they said, full stop. Okay, we don't want that. We thought free speech meant only liberals won. And when they realized that free speech meant conservatives could win too, they decided to take those tools away. So they've been working, the tech world, the hard left, and the media have all been working to sort of restrict conservative speech ever since.
So tell us about how they're doing that, because I think a lot of conservatives, we read about that and we hear about that, but what are some of the tools that's being employed to sort of stop conservative?
Well, there's a couple basic things. One, these are liberal organizations run by liberals, staffed by liberals. Even Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg admit that. So you've got liberal employees handling not every issue, but a lot of the issues. Then they've set up rules. Facebook has this massive rule set about community standards that it's the kind of thing you would find in an HOA, except 10 times longer.
Right.
Something only a lawyer could love.
Right, yeah.
So you got that. Just the hate speech section of Facebook's is like close to 1,000 words long. It jumps out to another 2,500 word blog. YouTube's is like 1,300 words, 12 links out, a video that goes with it. And if you want to know more, then you can take the YouTube Creators Free Speech course, which includes more videos and quizzes. So, I mean, they restrict speech that way. Then they've got this, the last couple of years, they've gone to this fact-checking garbage where it sounds like, we want to check facts. And if that's all they were doing, that would be great. If they were doing it in a neutral way, doing it to every side, that would be one thing. They're not. They're fact-checking as sort of a way of rationalizing it, saying their opinion's right and yours is wrong. So they'll fact-check like the issue of either late-term or post-birth abortion, where they let babies die that are born as a result of a failed abortion, and they will try to claim that's not killing a baby, which it's infanticide,
Clearly.
It's murder. So there's stuff like that. So that's another tool. And then they've created a very complex reporting system where it encourages group attacks on something you post. So if you post something and they don't like it, they just bombard a social media outlet with complaints and it gets taken down. So there's that. And then there's, frankly, the algorithms, the artificial intelligence designed by humans. See, this is what everybody forgets. Artificial intelligence isn't just magically created from God. Humans designed it, humans created it, and even liberals admit that artificial intelligence is biased. They just admit it's biased against them. They don't want to acknowledge that it's also biased against us.
Right, yeah, right, absolutely. So what are some of the steps that people can take to address the problem that we have with the biased media?
Well, I mean, if you're using Facebook or Twitter, or go through the appeals process. If somebody reports your content, you get a warning note or something, go all the way through the appeals process. Don't just ignore it, because sometimes it gets overturned. I've had that. So, you can get things overturned. That's part of it. If you find something awful, let us know about it. The Media Research Center, mrc.org. One of my own Facebook friends a few years ago posted something that was a picture around Christmas of Santa kneeling and praying with the baby Jesus. Somebody reported on it on Facebook, and it got like a warning note, a warning message in front of the photo. We wrote about it. It went away.
Wow.
So
it's that easy. So for someone just to find something offensive, doesn't mean it's offensive, but all they have to do is report it, and that could be enough to get taken.
It can get taken down, or if they get friends to report it, or an organized effort to report it, then they can get it restricted. And so that's why you've got to fight back against this. And then, yes, people should sign up for, we've got a weekly newsletter that, and it's just go to the mrc.org, sign up for, Free Speech America, our newsletter, get involved at least on that level. And then, if for people who are listening right now, we are a nonprofit. So if people got money listening, we need your help, because basically money, when you're a small organization, money is people.
Absolutely.
And with more people, we can do more stuff.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important, too, that we as conservatives, that we use our social media. We would use whatever tools that we can to make our voice heard. So, and as a nonprofit, understand, you guys are running largely off of donations, things of that nature.
Right.
So how would someone want to make a donation? I'm sorry, if someone wants to make a donation, how do they get hold of you or your organization?
They can just go to mrc.org. It talks about it. They can either contact us directly or make a donation online. We've had people do that. Either way, because, again, we can do more. We can hire more. There's tons of young people here who are trying to break in their career. We can hire some of them. We can, report more, cover more. We've got several different divisions, the MRC, not just Tech Watch, but business, culture. We have MRC TV, which does video like this. And then even CNS News, which does original journalism. And then, people can go to Newsbusters and see our regular blog. There's a lot going on there. 2020 is an election year. This is, conservatives up against whatever, things that the left is going to throw at them.
Yes.
We're nonpartisan, but certainly there's a lot for conservatives to be worried in this election.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So your organization really does a lot to protect our First Amendment rights.
We try very hard to, and I'm old school about this, which you can probably appreciate. I grew up in the era when the left believed in free speech. Mm-hmm. So that means, the ACLU telling us that Nazis can march in Skokie.
Right.
Now the left thinks you can punch a Nazi on the street and have no repercussions for it.
Right.
Used to read Nat Hentoff real heavily. Nat Hentoff was a libertarian, wrote a regular column, and he would bash conservatives and bash the right, but he also bashed the left. He was a free speech person. And we were always told by the left, more speech is better speech. The way to defend against bad speech is with more speech. And now, instead, we get people like Sacha Baron Cohen, the guy who played Borat in the movie, who's made a career of being offensive in movies.
Yes.
And he's out there saying freedom of speech is not freedom of reach. In other words, you can post online. We just don't have to share it. Nobody can see it. That's okay.
Yep.
That's where the left has evolved to.
Yes.
They are anti-free speech. Conservatives are pro-free speech. That's blatant.
Yes, I agree. Well, Dan, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. This is Melissa Isaak with the Conservative Commando Radio Show, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare.
Call 800-209-5173.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day and injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call now and learn how to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. And of course, we're AUN-TV network in Northern California. That's Pelosi country. You can also see rebroadcasts of our show on CCRShow.com, CCRShow.com. I'm Sharron Angle, and we're here at CPAC at our network studios here in the East this time. And I have a great guest with me today, Gainor Ludwig, who is a native Californian but has now, he said, out-migrated. We'll see how that works for him. But he's an investigative researcher with Capital Research Center. Welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show, Gainor.
Glad to be with you.
I'm so glad to have you here. You know, we know about undercover researchers. We've been out there on YouTube and we've seen that undercover research, but that's not what you do.
Well, of a kind, right?
Yes.
So I'm behind a desk, so it's not as glorious. But basically, what Capital Research Center does is we're America's investigative think tank. So we follow all the money trails from all the big foundations, all the billionaires like George Soros, Tom Steyer, Michael Bloomberg, all the way to the activists on the downstream who are trying to put in the left's big policies in Washington and the states. So we uncover all of the secretive connections in their board of directors, all the money flow going back and forth, and who starts that whole trail and who gets all of it.
Who starts it and who gets it. You also write articles, so we can go and get those articles. And your latest one is very interesting. Talk about that latest one.
So in the last year, we've had a long series uncovering a dark money network on the left called Arabella Advisors. So Arabella is a for-profit company started about 15 years ago by a gentleman named Eric Kessler, who was in the Clinton administration. Well, he started a for-profit company that runs a network of nonprofits, and these nonprofits cater to dozens, hundreds of major foundations and billionaires on the left that funnel their money through Arabella's dark money network, and in turn, Arabella sponsors all these phony pop-up groups. We call them pop-up groups because they're basically websites. They look like a standalone activist organization, but in reality, they're just a cardboard cutout of an organization that sends people to go protest things like Kavanaugh's confirmation. I was there, I covered it, I met these people, I've seen them, all the way to abortion on demand, open borders, pretty much every issue that the left's pushing, Arabella is secretly funding, and the catch is they don't tell you who's behind it all. So you, on the ground, think that this is, serious grassroots activism, when in reality, it's Washington, D.C. people who are trying to pull a fast one on you.
And they're all paid. We wondered who was paying those guys and how, because if you talk to those protesters, they're not really sure what they're protesting. They have sort of a script that they're on, but if you get them off script, then they say, well, I don't know about that. They just asked me to be here today, and I'm a paid volunteer. I have to...
Contradiction in terms.
Yes, I'd say, what does that mean? But now you're telling me exactly what that means.
Right. So, I'll give you a good example. Go back a year and a half to about June, July of 2.5 years, 2018, when before Kavanaugh's name was announced and that seat was opening up in the Supreme Court. I covered a Supreme Court protest by the left where I went kind of undercover. I grew my beard out, and I wandered around through the ranks of all these left-wing protesters. I bet none of them know who Arabella Advisors is, who actually cuts their check. But what we found is they had glossy, pre-printed signs that they were waving that had a fill-in-the-blank name for such and such is too extreme for the Supreme Court, because they didn't have Kavanaugh's name yet. Trump had announced his pick. So the point being, they know they were going to protest whoever Trump picked as quote-unquote too extreme, but they didn't even know who the guy or gal was at the time, right? So, that is a prime example of fake activism, of supposed citizen activists who are really just professional protesters who do this for a living every day.
It's interesting, these catchwords that they've had have been around a while. I know in 2010, that was the thing that Harry Reid said about me. She's too extreme, and then they would put a tinfoil hat on me and a picture or whatever. So they've been demonizing conservatives for at least 10 years, probably longer. We had a little more civility, I think, before 2010. It didn't seem like it was such a personal attack, but now it really is.
Well, that was a little before my time, so all I know is the personal attacks. And you look at the size of these armies, right? The left is the one always talking about money in politics. How money in politics is so awful. Well, in reality, the left has all the money in politics. The right, we've actually done studies on this. The right has far less money in if you look at all the nonprofit groups, all the big funders, the left way outguns the right. So the irony of ironies is when you go to these things, you have people waving signs, screaming at Congress to get money out of politics, but it's their own money that's in politics. The Arabella one, for instance, these groups bring in $600 million a year, and they're hardly ever reported in the news. Before we broke the story about a year ago, I hadn't seen them at all in the news. Now, it wasn't until we started reporting every week on them that I've started to see Fox and Breitbart and even some of the more main lefts of center ones like CNN and MSNBC start to talk about this Arabella network. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to flip that narrative to say, hey, look, there's money on the right and there's money on the left. Can we start talking about issues again? Can we start talking about the substance of things instead of pointing fingers and calling names?
Well, and it also seems that there's a violation here. The IRS 501c3 nonprofit is non-political as well and nonpartisan. How do they get around that?
Because they use 501c4 organizations. Here's the key difference that your listeners need to know. 501c3, these are the groups that when you write a check to them, you can deduct it from your taxes. It's like my institution, right? They can do very little what they call lobbying. That's a really nebulous term. That could mean anything from hosting a person from a political organization to do a speech, all the way to actually physically knocking on doors in Congress, right? It's very wide. So they use these groups called 501c4 organizations that can do up to about 49% of their budget. It's really technical. All I mean to say is they have organizations that are set up to move money into lobbying. So that can be protesting Kavanaugh's confirmation about a year and a half ago, right? That can be, knocking on doors, pushing policies, and they can get away with it. What I find with the left is that they go right up to the edge of what's legal, what they can get away with, and they put their toe right on that line. Conservative organizations are very concerned about that, as they should. They don't want to lose their tax-exempt status. But the left plays fast and loose with these games. And so that's one of the things my organization looks at every day.
Now, I was challenged to look at a website called Indivisibles. The Indivisibles. Are you familiar with the Indivisibles? Because I didn't know what the Indivisibles were, but it sounds like we're talking about these kind of deep, dark, money places.
I do. I'm familiar with them. Yeah, Indivisible is one of those state-by-state groups, and it's for the left of the left, if you will. These people basically want the open borders, the socialized medicine, the Bernie Sanders platform, right? The AOC platform. They are too extreme for words. Fortunately, there's not a whole lot of them, I'm happy to say. What we tend to find is groups like that receive money from big foundations. So this would be like George Soros's Open Society Foundations, or the Ford Foundation, or if you know it, the Tides Foundation. All you have to know is that these are big, huge pots of money. It can be billions of dollars big in the case of Soros and Ford Foundation. And they get a tax write-off to send money to 501c3 organizations. And most people, if they looked at organizations doing obviously political work, give you an example, voter registration. There are groups on the left right now, none on the right that I know of, but 501c3 nonprofits that are set up to register people to vote. Now, they can't tell you how to vote, but come on, if you have a room full of liberal groups and they're all winking, nudging, hey, we're on the same side, right? I think most people would look at that and say, that's not what I call charitable. That's not philanthropy. I think of philanthropy as helping women and children and orphans, not voter registration in the upcoming election. But anyway, these are the kinds of things that we notice the left gets into that's hardly ever talked about by the mainstream media.
And so when they're up against that line, there really isn't anything legal that can be done because they're still within their legal right, but they're getting all of the benefits of tax deduction and And you right at the beginning said some real buzzwords. You know, there's names out here that we grassroots guys, we know them. Soros, Steyer, Bloomberg, all these billionaires on the left that are putting their money into these foundations and paying these protesters. And we hear things out there like, well, Soros owns voting machines. What about that? Is that tinfoil hat stuff, or is that reality?
I don't know if he owns voting machines. That's a part of the research I haven't looked at. What I do know is that the left has whole networks that are basically set up to use the existing IRS rules concerning these nonprofits to push the 2020 election and every future election their way. So they're actually more clever than simply owning machines. They basically control all the space around an election without touching the election itself, and then get away with that. What do I mean? So there's groups out there. One of them is called the Funders Committee for Civic Participation, which sounds like something out of the Soviet Union. But the Funders Committee is it's a spot for all these highly influential, highly wealthy Tom Steyers of America to come together and divvy up how they're going to spend their money in the upcoming election. So they'll come up with ways of how do we go to big Democratic strongholds like cities, right? Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania, North Carolina. How do we find states that we want to flip, go to their cities and pump up the number of people in the census in those particular areas who are likely to vote Democratic in the coming elections? And they try to do that. That's considered charitable by the IRS, so a C3 can do that. That's crazy. Most people don't look at that and say that's a good thing, right? Similarly, the voter registration stuff. How do we get more people registered to vote? Now, I'm not saying those are bad things in and of themselves. Of course, we want accurate counts, and we want people to actually show up and support their republic. My point is simply that the right is doing none of that. Look, we can't shut that down because it's legal under the current rules. The conservative movement needs to have its own version of these things. We need organizations out there that are willing to say, hey, we need to get more people to show up to the polls. We're not going to tell them how to vote. We just need to get them there. We need to get them registered. We need more groups that are going to count people in rural areas and conservative areas, in areas that support conservative traditional policies. We need to make sure that those voices are represented because the left is pouring billions of dollars into this concentrated effort, and the right has no clue it's even going on.
Well, it's a big, tall order is all I know, Hayden Ludwig. But we're out of time. I want you to let our listeners know how they can friend you, follow you, connect with you, get your research, read your papers.
2 websites, capitalresearch.org. That's capital AL like money. And the other one is influencewatch.org. Influence Watch is a project that my organization runs. It's your database on the left. It's how you can get well-cited profiles of 7,000 groups on the left with all the connections to the funding, the who's who, everything you could possibly want to know. It's all right there at influencewatch.org.
Influencewatch.org. Hayden Ludwig, thank you so much for being our guest here on Conservative Commandos Radio Show. Take care and God bless.
You too. Thank you.
And you've been watching the Conservative Commandos Radio Show here at CPAC. We're also broadcasting on AUN-TV network in Northern California. All you folks out there in Pelosi country, glad to have you with us. And, of course, you can see a rebroadcast of our show on our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next great guest.
A veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty?
We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here!
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Greetings and welcome to Conservative Commandos. Today we've got with us a woman of remarkable talents, an incredible history, and great aspirations for human freedom. Sasha Gong, Dr. Sasha Gong, who grew up in China under Mao, was a political prisoner during the Cultural Revolution. This is about as bad as it gets. She's the author of a book on the Cultural Revolution cookbook.
One of my many books.
One of her many. But her more serious efforts have been in helping bring freedom to China. And one of your projects is the Committee on, tell us all about it.
Oh, this is a committee Committee on President Danger China,
Right.
which is organized not by me but by other people who are foreign policy experts, and we are now trying to form some policy advisors for Congress, for the president, and for example, some experts in the committee found out we are financing China's military advance by putting our retirement fund there, by putting a lot of money there. So we are advising to stop it. To my own personal effort, my concern is that I'm a media guy. So to me, I have been seeing the great advance of Chinese propaganda in our country. You talked about, the main job I had was to bring freedom to China. Actually, I think now, after 33 years in America, my main job is to protect America from the Chinese influence.
Right, very good. And tell us a little bit about how China is affecting our politics, interfering perhaps in our elections, maybe far, far more than Russia and anyone else, how they're influencing students on campuses with some of their propaganda arms. Where's the battle today?
Well, the battle is actually everywhere. They're talking about unrestricted warfare. It's a warfare every day. Basically, China got so good in using money, lots of that our own money, to work against us. That's a very, very major problem. I'll give you one example. China took our industries away. We all know that.
And we're paying the price now with the coronavirus. All of these companies that are single sourcing all of their products from China, whether it's Apple or anything electronic, anything manufactured, it all comes from there. So we're utterly reliant upon them.
Yeah, you see, for many decades, basically 4 decades, what we heard about China is globalization. It's all things good. Globalization is good. Globalization bring the whole world, uplift the world, uplift poverty, and we heard all this. But actually, in the past few years, especially now, we are looking at clear and present the danger of the downside of globalization. Coronavirus, in many ways, and people may argue it did not have 2% death rate, whatever. But the problem is that you actually see how globalization can, bring virus. Not only the virus, this we are talking about a real virus, but the symbolic virus, like, you have no nations, no loyalty to the nations, and you go earn money, live anywhere, and you disregard your own people in your country because you don't know them, but you associate more with rich people in other countries. I mean, talking about the upper class, it's something like that. So we are actually looking at lots of several aspects of the downside of globalization, in which China is a very big part, if not the main part, and we play our part. I'm quite afraid we have been tricked by China in the past 4 decades.
And that's a perfect way to put it. And by relying on them so much, there's something that many people don't realize. There's sort of a moral equivalence. So somehow, the Chinese, they're as equivalent to us. Michael Bloomberg said that, China is really a democracy. Xi Jinping, he relies on the support of his people.
The constituents.
His constituents. This is only, of course, he's got, he's bought and paid for his business interests in China. But so many people don't get what China's doing in, their strategic advances on the West, the propaganda. You can pick up a Chinese newspaper, you can turn the TV on to Chinese TV, propaganda TV, on any cable system in the country. And in the halls of Congress, there's members that I know of who see China as a dear friend, not an enemy.
Yeah, and well, the problem is that, well, even with that much communication and a globalization relationship ongoing, I'm afraid that American politicians and American public don't really understand what kind of China and what kind of Chinese we are dealing with. That's one of the major misconceptions, and for many years, of course, people said, well, China, the Chinese are just like us. They want to make money, and look, they are very nice. Actually, very few people really look deep into what kind of society, what kind of culture the communist regime nurtured.
Yeah.
That's of course a whole other subject. It's a very big subject, but I want to raise every listener's attention. That's one thing we have to look at.
Absolutely. Now the Committee for the Clear and Present Danger in China. Now what's their website? How do people learn more?
You just Google Committee for Present Danger China, you'll find it. And I think the website is just the Committee for Present Danger China. So if you go there, you'll see videos and you'll see analysis reports. And recently, the committee also commissioned a survey in Iowa. And it found out China is one of the major themes in the voters' mind. So I think,
really? Okay.
Yeah, I think we really need to raise awareness and put the China subject into 2020 campaign, to the campaign issues. This is so important to us. It's actually almost life and death.
It is. And you know, I could see over the last 20, 30 years, the U.S. accommodating more and more China, building them up under Bill Clinton and the Bushes, transferring technology, blatantly and openly, and then, of course, acquiescing in the World Trade Organization to China's, raping all the technology of the companies that set up shop there. But for the first time, we're starting to see, under President Trump, a pushback.
Yeah, you see, I don't blame Trump and Bush and all that. And, well, they may have some fault. However, I think that the main problem is that, like all Americans, they don't really understand what's the culture, what kind of communist culture. When they talk about communism, I always say, well, they were thinking of Russia. So we fought with Russia, we are big grizzly bear, Russia is a polar bear, and we fight. But share some rules. But Chinese communism, it's a very different animal.
I was in several years ago in both Taiwan and communist China, and Taiwan is a vibrant, brilliant, dynamic democracy. So too is India. Yet China says, well, you have too many people to be a democracy, so you have to suffer into dictatorship. And democracy is incompatible with Chinese culture and values. Yet in Hong Kong, we're seeing the expressions of democracy in the demonstrations, and in Taiwan, it is the culture of the country and Chinese culture.
Yeah. When you see that, I always, it's a joke. It's not really a joke when you listen to what the Chinese government said. China have too many people to be democracy, and would that be also too many people to have a dictatorship?
That is brilliant. We'll have to end in a moment, but it's been an awesome pleasure having you on. I hope everyone can go and look out the Committee on Present Danger China and learn more about the threats that we really face, that not too many people are aware of or talk about. Thankfully, President Trump has put this in the public consciousness, and we hope that things in the second term, assuming that happens, will be even better.
Hope so.
Thanks so much.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Well, thank you so much. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And tune in for the next edition of Conservative Commandos. Thank you.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare.
Call 800-209-5173.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day and injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call now and learn how to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Welcome back to Conservative Commandos. This is the place to be. We're here at CPAC. It's a great week, and we are very pleased to have with us Matthew Whitaker. He, of course, is former Attorney General, and we're glad to have him here to talk about liberty and freedom, an important topic.
Things that I've been really, since I was a senior in high school, have cared a lot about, and it's the reason I'm continuing to be active in public policy and politics and really all things civic engagement. So I'm really, it's an honor. I've served twice in the Department of Justice, once in the Bush administration as a U.S. attorney, and then I came to Washington, D.C. to be chief of staff, and then ultimately became acting attorney general between Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr. So it's just something I feel so strongly about, that we need good people to raise their hand and volunteer. I mean, if you think about our founding fathers and the sacrifices they made for this country, I think everyone should find a way that they can participate in civics, and whether it's in their community, their state, or their country. I think the more people that are involved, the better.
That's absolutely
especially conservatives.
There you go. There you go. No, that's absolutely true. You know, one of the things I always think about is how people like George Washington was a wealthy man, and he put everything on the line. And had they lost, he would have been hung.
Yes.
And lost everything he owned.
Said the famous quote is, "We either hang together or surely we'll hang apart."
That's right. Separately, exactly. Yeah. And so for us today, the sacrifice is not quite like that. I mean, you and I can speak out. And it's not necessarily true that if we don't win the debate that day, we'll be hung.
Yeah.
So
that's true. And that full stop.
Yeah.
People are now in this current climate in politics, especially in our more liberal states, afraid to speak out, especially if they're conservatives or Republicans, or if they support this president. I mean, think about how many people have been assaulted wearing a red hat, because it says "Make America Great Again." So, I mean, while I agree,
no,
we have to put our lives and our fortunes on the line every day. At the same time, speak the truth and to say what you believe in and firmly believe in. It does take some courage.
And it always has. And that's a good point.
And there's plenty of people on the internet, all those anonymous trolls that will attack you all day, every day.
Exactly. No, I guarantee you've seen that.
A few times. Although, you know what, for every negative, there's two positives. That's, and I've met so many people here since I was here last night at a reception. I'm here today. I'll be here. I'm here tonight at a dinner. So I'm speaking tomorrow. I'm going to be spending a lot of time here at CPAC. I can't tell you how many people have just been so great, thanking me for what I did as acting attorney general, and also just encouraging me to stay in the fight and stay in the discussion. So it's really it's good to come to places like this.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you need to see it and understand how many people you're actually fighting for.
Yeah, you make a very good point there, because I will sometimes go out and speak at conferences, around the country. And it always reminds me, I'm not the only one who cares about these issues, because sometimes it feels like that. Because if you spend too much time reading the Washington Post or the New York Times or watching kind of major network news, you could be led to believe that you're the only one in the country. And it's dangerous to feel that way. So you're right. There are literally...
It is. And I went to, as part of the CPAC, they've had several CPAC events both around the country and around the world. I went to CPAC out in Nevada. I was at, and I went to CPAC in South Korea. And I was really interested because right now, President Moon, who is the president of their country, is a socialist, and there's a lot of conservatives that feel sidelined. The last president was actually this is going to sound a little bit familiar, but was impeached and is now in jail. Wow. And so and she was conservative and was charged with corruption. And so I mean, I think we need to appreciate how fragile what we have here is. I think to some extent the fight and the challenge and uphill is never going to end. It's a little bit like my parents, carrying firewood both ways uphill to school when they were growing up. It's the same idea. As conservatives, our ideas are better. Our policies work, proven throughout the course of time. Socialism has failed everywhere it's been tried. But that doesn't mean that a new generation can't be conscripted or convinced that somehow socialism is better. So, I mean, we all take the fight.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you told me years ago that we would, in 2020, potentially have a major party candidate openly proclaiming socialism as his doctrine, I would have thought that was insane. Not in America. I mean, sure, that may be a liberal, but they're not going to admit to that. And it's you're exactly right. We have to... Part of the price of freedom, as the saying goes, is eternal vigilance.
It is, and we've been warned about this. We've been warned that sort of once more than 50% of the people can vote for more things for themselves, that's when our constitutional republic will come to an end. So, I mean, I'm really Some of those things we sometimes forget that actually, it's better that, we need to keep taxes low, but everyone needs to feel like they're part of it. And everyone needs to feel like they're pitching in to pay for the roads and to pay for the national defense, all the kind of things that are necessary to have an orderly, free republic.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Everyone has to have a stake in the venture.
Exactly.
Like their stockholder. Because the truth is, as an American citizen, you are in fact a stockholder, and we ought to have policies that make it clear to everyone they are. I like the way you said that. Let's in your time, you've spent time both as the acting attorney general, but also as a U.S. attorney. These are important positions, and I don't necessarily want to suggest that, because there's troubles within our DOJ or FBI that we don't need them, but we definitely need to clean them up. And so you've been on the inside and been able to see it. What are some of the things that concern you and make you restless at night where you can't quite get to sleep worrying about?
Well, I spent 18 months this last time in the Trump administration at DOJ. And, one of the good things is that I remind people that Jim Comey's gone, Andy McCabe's gone, Jim Baker's gone, Peter Strzok's gone. All these folks that caused a lot of this pain that we went through as part of the Mueller investigation have all been removed or have left. Most of them have been removed, quite frankly. And I was there when a lot of that happened. But at the same time, we need to make sure this is, and it's a tension because the tools of law enforcement are very powerful. And I know this both because I've been a prosecutor and I've also been a defense lawyer. So I've seen these tools used, from both sides of the equation. And I think we need to make sure that the FBI is never politicized. And unfortunately, it takes the people at the top to actually police that. And it takes a director to police that and to set the tone, and that's what Jim didn't do.
Yeah.
He set a tone that, quite frankly, leaked and shaped stories and tried to be on both sides of every issue and did the opposite of leadership. I feel better about Chris Wray. I think the problem with Chris Wray is he's just too quiet. Americans need answers to a lot of what happened and an explanation.
A lot of us want to see. Yeah, I was going to say a lot of us want to see a director who's angry with what he sees, and because he's so measured, it might lead some people, and you would know this better than me, but it might lead people incorrectly to believe that he's okay with what was going on.
Yeah, I've known Chris for almost 20 years.
Okay,
we were both in the Bush administration. He was the head of the criminal division when I was coming in as attorney, and I just I think he's playing an inside game. He's trying to restore a discipline and a process inside the FBI, knowing that that's what he has to do, and he's not too worried about the PR challenges that they face. He knows the proof is in the pudding, as they say.
That's a fair point. Over time, you're exactly right.
And I think I wish he was a little more, like you said, a little more upset or.
Well, he may be, but he just may not be sharing
it's just
with us.
His personality is one of the smartest guys. His personality is very low key, and I know that he's working very hard on the inside of the FBI to bring regular order to it.
Well, that's good for our listeners to know, because I know from talking to some conservatives, some have been frustrated, feeling like, well, he doesn't seem angry enough about what's gone wrong. But that's the answer, maybe. He's just working on it, and that's good. Just real quick in terms of when you look at what's happening now, do you feel like the reforms and the things that need to change are in the process of changing?
I think so. I'm watching very carefully the FISA reauthorization. The Judiciary Committee, Senator Graham chairs it. They're going to bring 21 witnesses regarding FISA abuse. They're bringing very interesting hearings to see what, if anything, needs to be fixed. And I expect that not only will the FBI reform its procedures, which were already underway in the FISA court, very sort of on top of that, from what I can tell. I think Congress has an important and necessary job. What I don't want is to completely get rid of it.
I agree with you.
I think those tools, if the American people understood, ultimately, they're not generally used against 100 pages of the world and of the United States. They're not usually used against United States citizens. They're used for the proper purpose, and they're very important tools for what we.
To getting the bin Ladens of the world. This is my take on the FISA court. I want a FISA court because I want our law enforcement, our intelligence community to be able to get the bin Ladens of the world. I want those guys to, to be caught, to be brought to justice. But I'd like to see some reforms, because I also understand that if the American public believes that it might be used against them, they'll be less supportive of it, and then we're all in greater danger. So to me, this reform, like you described, is critical, not only because all of us deserve a government that's not spying on us unless we're engaged in terrorism, but quite frankly, if we want to prevent the next 9/11, we need some of those tools. So that's why, to me, I take the FISA reform so seriously.
And I have always, I do not believe that ex-party procedures where the government can go to a court and get some subpoena, search warrant, or something else is good. I think our system of cross-examination of adversarial process has always served us very, very well. There's very limited circumstances where an ex-party procedure should be used. And ultimately, there's also ways to adjust. I think the concept of having not necessarily the target have a representation, but having his interests being represented by a lawyer, I think would also be, because it takes a different set of eyes. Somebody that's against the warrant issuing to actually say where its limitations are. And if that was in place in the Page situation, I don't think they would ever issue the warrants in the first place.
Right. That's an interesting point. Our adversarial system has worked pretty well for us.
It does.
And, well, I know that we're getting short on time, but you have talked about the fact that you want to fight for freedom. So give our listeners some things they ought to be looking for that they can do to join in the fight, maybe issues they should follow, whatever it is. Just if you were to kind of list some priorities.
Well, again, I think Ronald Reagan said it best. As government expands, liberty contracts. And it's true as a mathematical perfection. I mean, it just is. It's the way it's always been. And so we need to keep an eye on this concept that somehow the federal government can solve all of our problems. I think, we should always be looking for the states to be the laboratories of innovation and to come up with good ideas, whether that's in the healthcare arena, whether that's, all the areas that the states could do a much better job and take some power out of Washington, D.C. The places that I care about are, it's our Second Amendment right. It's life. I care a lot about that issue, and I think we've made a lot of advances in that area.
Right.
And it really, in the last 20 years, it's been extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I think we can continue to move that issue forward. And I really think, I think civic engagement, as I mentioned at the beginning, is so important. I just would encourage everybody to find a way to participate, whether it's planting a garden, any way that they can make their community better. If they feel like they have a leadership opportunity, I mean, there's just so many ways to participate, and we just need good people to get in and to raise their hand and say, I'm willing to serve.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I hope happens is that more and more people get voting, because there's a lot of Americans who I know agree with everything you've said, but because the government or the nation's been going reasonably well, for the last 200 years, I understand there's been some, dips and valleys and all that, but
at our moments as a country.
But by and large, though, if you're an American, you're in the top 1% in world population. Life is pretty darn good here, even when it's not that good, compared to other times. And so sometimes there's complacency.
Some of our poorest people have more wealth than kings from 2,000 years ago.
Oh yeah.
If you think about flat panel HD TVs, cell phones, all the things that are commoditized now,
we can,
are just extraordinary.
They can get on a plane and fly to visit their grandchildren. Yeah. A king, if he wanted to go around the world, it might be a 3-month journey
with elephants,
in which he would die in the process. But so anyhow, but it's been great to have you on. We really appreciate you taking some time.
Nice
and
to meet you.
Absolutely, thanks so much. Well, that's us from CPAC. We've been talking with Matthew Whitaker, the former acting attorney general and a U.S. attorney. We really appreciate you joining with us. It's been great to share this experience at CPAC with you. Don't go away. We will be back.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline Refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty?
We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here!
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
CPAC 2020 again with Concerted Commander Radio Show, and it's our esteemed pleasure to have Vernon Robinson III on the show. Welcome to the Concerted Commander Radio Show, Vernon.
Glad to be here.
You wear a few hats. You ran for Congress. You are an activist for President Trump, black activist, and you're also writing a book, or you have recently written a book. Talk about that.
Well, Coming Home, How Black Americans Will Re-elect Trump, tells the story of how black voters became Democrats from being Republicans. Tells that, you know, for 70 years or so, the Republican Party had the moral high ground, having abolished slavery at the point of a bayonet and passing the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution. However, Herbert Hoover decided he wanted an all-white party. He stopped taking pictures of black folk, stopped inviting black folk to the White House, and resegregated the White House. The FDR's folks noticed that 6 million black citizens were moving into the North, Midwest, and West, and when they did that out of the South, they became voters. And he could not sell them on the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party was known to these voters as the party of slavery, segregation, Jim Crow laws, the Night Riders of the Klan. So he couldn't sell the party, so he went on a charm offensive. Sold himself. He got 30-some% of the vote in 32, got 76% of the black vote in 36, but black voters did not self-identify as Democrats, the majority, until 48, 12 years later. So in the meantime, the 40s, 50s, and 60s, the conservative movement took a pass, didn't support enforcing the Voting Rights Act, and in fact, Bill Buckley was more concerned about shipyard workers in Poland voting in free elections than my mother and grandmother voting in free elections in Louisiana in the 40s and 50s and 60s. So now, with the Trump Republican Party and the great opportunity that the performance of the president has created, the GOP now has the moral high ground again on a range of issues, on life, on school choice, on job creation and wealth creation, expansion of the economy, and black business startups. It's 400% 2018 over 2017. Dealing with the illegal immigration invasion, because an open border is a dagger at the throat of the black community. The Criminal Justice Act.
Excellent.
And finally, the Second Amendment. I don't know any sane black folks who think they should be disarmed in this country. So, any event, that's the great record the president's run on. His campaign is obviously committed to engaging black voters. There are great poll numbers out as far as job approval, as far as folks feeling good about their own families, and the big question is whether the Republican Party will help the president out and for the first time in 70 years ask for the order, because nobody makes a sale without asking for the business. And so hopefully the GOP will do that, although I have my doubts.
Well, we pray they do. If they have any common sense in the GOP, we need to get behind people like Vernon Robinson and Biloxi, Candace Owens, and wake up. Talk about basically the big issue this past week in the Senate, abortion. And the Democrat Party is so strong on supporting abortion, and that has just liquidated the black community over the decades. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, if you saved 100 Jewish kids during World War II, they'd plant trees for you on the path of the righteous in Israel. Donald Trump just defunded 900 Planned Parenthood facilities, most of them located in black communities. So he has saved, just in that one act, thousands of black kids. The black population of the United States, when Roe v. Wade was handed down in 73, was 18.7 million. Since Roe v. Wade, in that 47 years, 20 million black babies have been killed, larger than the entire black population of the United States in 1973. So clearly, the president's on the moral high ground on that issue, and more black voters are very concerned about the Democratic Party going on a cliff, supporting abomination instead of biblical marriage, supporting transgendered madness, There's only two genders, and some activists told me if you're confused, just look down, and it'll solve the problem. And on abortion, so on a range of social issues, the GOP is on the side of the angels, and the Democrats are not.
Amen on that. Amen on that. Tell us a bit about your book. What got you writing this, and what are some of the key chapters?
Well, since I'm on the political level, is trying to get black voters, at least 20% of them, if not more, to vote for the president. I thought it'd be useful to take a look at how did black voters become Democrats in the first place, and so that was very illuminating. Illuminating to see that the Democrats have demonized every Republican since Goldwater, inclusive, as racist. It worked so well with Goldwater, who had an excellent civil rights record, to elect Johnson, who used the N-word every other sentence, to the point that his daughter felt it was very commonplace. He used it in public. So it's been interesting looking at how those changes happen, because it informs a strategy on how that the president can turn the FDR strategy on its head, yes, and get 20% plus of the black vote in the swing states, thus saving us from socialism for another 4 years.
Yeah, Vernon, and that's our theme here at CPAC 2020, America versus Socialism. But all the Democrat presidential contenders, I mean, you got Crazy Bernie, but then you got the B team, Buddy, Bloomey, and Biden, but they're far left. My wife's a pastor. We work with the black community all the time in Indianapolis, and those aren't the values. What the current Democratic Party is espousing is not. They aren't the values of the black community. Espouse on that, please, because our listeners really need to hear more on this.
Well, the problem is that the Republican Party is not communicating with black voters at all. 1% of black voters watch Fox News. The Democrat Party is not going to tell them they're the party of abomination, of abortion, of transgender, etc. They're not going to do that. In fact, the GOP has done such a bad job that black voters tend to associate anything positive with the Democratic Party and anything negative with the Republican Party, irrespective of the party's position on the issue. So if you ask black voters which party will best defend the innocent unborn, it's about 61-19 Democrat. And it's the same way on school choice, on guns, on taxes, on defense. If the GOP, if there was a bar association for political parties, the GOP would be disbarred for malpractice. Because, clearly 30% of black voters believe exactly what great Americans like yourself believe. And the fact that you're getting 8, that's malpractice.
That is. That is branding in a poor way. Oh, my gosh. We love hearing from you. Right now, let's learn more how our listeners can get your book, support your organizations. Just take a second and let us know.
Well, the book, Coming Home, How Black Americans Will Re-elect Trump, is available on Amazon. If you Google Coming Home or and Bruce Eberly or Vernon Robinson, it'll come up, so you can order it. I was selling it for $20 at the Lincoln Days in Missouri, the GOP's big event, and since you can buy it for $19.17 on Amazon, that means my signature is worth about 83 cents. So if you want to check out blackamericans.org is Black Americans to Re-elect the President's website, and it talks about the radio we put up in the midterms and the $2.4 million we have to raise to put radio in 8 swing states, urban contemporary radio. Steve Harvey and Tom Joyner. Well, Tom Joyner's retired now, so D.H. Hughley, in morning and evening drive. And by doing that, you can move the needle. And usually about 3 or 4 points, which in a close election is the ball game.
Yes.
And in the case of Tom Tillis in 2014, the needle was moved 11 points in 8 weeks. Thus, dispatching Kay Hagan.
Well, it's been so good having you on the Conservative Commander Radio Show. We need have our viewers, as we close down, how they can get your book, how they can support you, because you are a great strategist. You're the Karl Rove here at CPAC that I'm listening to and taking mental notes, because this is how we flip the houses. You've thought this out well. How can our listeners support you, and give that information again?
Well, you can go to Amazon, Google Coming Home, or search Amazon or Coming Home, and either Bruce Eberly or Vernon Robinson, and the book will come up. So we encourage to buy that book. And if you go to blackamericans.maga.org, you can take a look at Black Americans to re-elect the president. You can leave some money there so we can buy some more radio and beat some more Democrats.
Thank you, Vernon, for coming on the Conservative Commander Radio Show. God bless.
Well, I have been blessed, but I've always could use some more blessings.
Yes.